Hello and welcome to a little bit of a different video here on the channel. Today it's a Q&A. Now, if you don't like these kind of videos, don't worry. I'm sure you will find other videos on my channel more to your liking. But for all of you who want to know a little bit more about, well, what I'm thinking about certain things, what's planned for the future and so on, this is, I think, a video for you guys. I headed over to Instagram and asked you to provide me with questions. So all questions that are coming up in this video are actually coming from my Instagram account. If you haven't checked that out yet, then you have the opportunity to head over to Instagram at Bongoplanes and check out my content there. But now we have the chance to just sit down here. It's been a long time since we've had that last time, and just to have a little talk. And the first question we had was from at Frankfurt Airport. His question was a little bit cryptic, but well, he basically just wrote "wanna route gamer," and I'm pretty sure I know what he means. He's basically asking for a route between my airport and his airport. It's a question that I've had many times, and that's why I included this question in this Q&A. I've had it a lot over the last year or so, and I've had it a lot since the last episode of Airport Update, because that's actually the first time I've ever done a collaborative route from my airport. It's not something I'm sure I will do again. I'm not totally opposed to it. It's just that I want to be sure that if I did something, that I can really live up to whatever agreement I would make with the person I would make a collaboration with. And right now also the issue is, of course, that my airport is actually completely dismantled. So right now it's just impossible for me to do anything because I actually can't record any new episodes for the moment. But it's something I'm thinking about. I'm always happy to, get people who contact me and ask about it. Right now my answer would be no, but it's not a definite no forever. It's more a no, let's see how it goes in the future. The next question came from Luka Kovacevic. I hope I pronounced that correctly. He asked if I've ever been to Belgrade, and the very short answer is no, I haven't. I don't know if I will ever get there, but why not? Maybe even this year. Right now I'm actually looking at possible destinations to fly to this year, but I haven't really made my mind up yet. Then a bunch of you, D-Planes 8YT, JFK, Model Airport 1 to 500, Anto-Spotting, Merida International, and Peter 13, all basically ask the same question: what is your favorite model plane? And that's really difficult to answer because there are simply too many. Every time I would mention one, I would probably forget 10 others. Just to mention a few maybe that I can think of right now would be, for example, the ANA Cargo 767-300F, extremely detailed, an Afro 100 from Brussels Airlines, the 737-500 from Air Baltic is very nice as well. But there are so many really cool aircraft model, and yeah, as I say, I've probably forgotten about 10 others that I really like. Then Axel Verker and Anto-Spotting asked me what is my favorite aircraft. That would be the A220 series. That is truly a aircraft for the 21st century. Then we had another question which was asked by a bunch of people. Bona, Pezun, Anton Spotter, and Peter 13. They all asked me, what is your favorite airline? That would be Swiss International Airlines. The next question came from D-Planes 8YT, and he asked me what's my favorite airport. That would be Munich Airport. Ines Spotter asked me if I collect Snapfit models, and the only answer I can give there is no, I don't. And then Axel Verger, I hope I pronounced it correctly, asked me 777-300ER or MAX. I guess I would say MAX, just because it's a new aircraft and it's not that common yet. Then Peter 13 asked me, what is your favorite airline livery? Again, a really good question, because there are too many to mention. I mean, still the Etihad livery is really a class of its own. If you have seen the Nordwind, there's a new Herpa model of that. That's actually quite nice. Scandinavian Airlines is a classic. Yeah, I think I would mention these for this time. Then again, a question from Axel Verger, but also Francie Cavallin 05 and Aviation KA, they all asked me, when did you start collecting planes? Which was the first one, and how many do you have? Good questions. When did I start? Well, I mean, I guess the first models I really got must have been like 4 or 5. There were Schabak, I think 1:600 scale. And as you can imagine, being a little kid, I didn't really treat them very nicely. Which one was the first? I'm not sure. But it might have been a 747. I guess it was a 100 series. It was from Scandinavian Airlines. The SAS used to have a few 747s. I think it was the 100 series, might have been the 200 series. And that was the model that looked the worst, so had been treated the worst. So I assume that's the model that I had the longest. But I was a little kid when I started getting airplane models. And at that time I was just toying around with them. To answer the question of how many I have, I can't answer that because I haven't counted for a while, and right now they are all stored in some boxes. But I have more than 300 models, that I can say for sure. Then Tim Fly Spotting very fittingly asked the question, what was your first Herpa model? Because again, I was still a kid when I got those, but that was when I started treating the models a little bit better. I'm not 100% sure, but I think the first Herpa model I got was a 767-300 from Scandinavian Airlines. That or the 737-700 from Maersk Air, but I'm pretty sure it was a Scandinavian. And I actually still have that aircraft model, but of course it's an old generation. And then Francie Cavalin05 asked me why did I choose the scale 1:500, and the simple answer is I didn't. It was just the scale that was mostly or most widely available. Of course, the aircraft models also had a price that was, well, simply achievable. It was possible for me to buy models and get a decent sized collection with the price they had at the time. So it was just that those were the models that were mostly available, and they had an okay price to pay. Then at Fly Helsinki City asked a really good question, and that was, what is your dream model which Herpa should produce? And the answer might be a little bit boring, but I would wish that Herpa would make an EasyJet model. It's such a common airline in Europe, and there are no models of it in 1:500. Herpa has never released any EasyJet models. It's ridiculous. I don't understand why they never get the license to do these aircraft models from this airline, because it would be just, I mean, it's literally, you can't make a realistic airport setup if you haven't got any EasyJet. So the only way to get a hold of that is to get a custom model, which is also not easy to find some custom models in 1:500 and then with a good quality. But I would wish that Herpa would make an EasyJet A320, A319, I don't care, just an EasyJet, that would be nice. Then the next question came from Merida International, and the question was, where do you usually buy your models? And that would be the Aviation Center Berlin. They have a good online store. I'm in no way affiliated with them. I'm not getting anything for saying that. But that's where I get most of my models, but in no way exclusively. I have to say that. But yeah, I do buy quite a lot of my airplane models from the Aviation Center Berlin. Then Peter13 asked me, what is the next model you are getting? Well, actually, I just yesterday received 2 new models. One was an Airbus A320 from Bulgaria Air, which I was very happy to find, and the other one was a Boeing 737-800 from Alaska Airlines in a special livery called Spirit of the Islands. 2 really nice models. And then I'm just waiting for the new releases from Herpa. I mean, they still have some 2018 releases that were announced to be released in 2018 that they, of course, haven't released yet, because Herpa is always very slow with that. So I'm waiting on those models, just like I assume many of you guys. Then Aviation KA and Peter13 again asked the question, what inspired your passion for aviation? And I don't think there's one particular event that triggered that. I think it's more the case that I simply have grown up in a family that has always traveled. I mean, I was an infant on my first flight and have been flying ever since. Going to the airport to fly, going to the airport to pick someone up who has come from a flight was very normal when I was a kid and is still today. So I think it's just the case that I've been around the aviation industry, if you can say it like this, my entire life, and most or all of my closer family are as well. And that's just, if it's something you do or are close to on a regular basis, you just start being interested in it. You want to know how things work, what you can do to, have a more comfortable journey and stuff like that. And I think that's where it came from. Then Model Exposition wrote, I want to build a 737 Ryanair by Revell in 1:144. Is it worth? I assume you meant, is it worth it to build that? Because I don't think there's a market for Revell models that have already been built, but I might be wrong here. I don't have a huge experience in that. I actually, as a kid, built one model. There was a 727 from Pan Am. I remember, I think that was Revell as well. And that was fun. I quite enjoyed it. It took some time. I wasn't really particularly skilled in putting it together, and I didn't really have the tools. So I think get the right tools. That's probably a good advice. But I had fun. I only did one, but I enjoyed that. So why not give it a try? I'm sure it will be fun. Brendan McLean had a really good question. He or she, I assume he, asked, how much did you spend on Munich City Airport? Now, in the question he said planes, buildings, vehicles, and so on. I would like to exclude planes from that because I think that's a separate entity, if you like. And a very, my top tip, if you want to make an airport, is look at your collection and find an airport that matches with that collection. Don't do it the other way around. Don't find an airport and then build up your collection, at least not if you want to start right away with something that is a little bit realistic, because then you will have to spend so much money on your airplane collection, if that makes any sense. But anyway, I made a quick calculation before I made this video. Just buildings and your plates and stuff like that, that was around 600 euros. Then you have to add GSE, ground service equipment, and as you would see it today in my latest airport update, I would say that's probably 200 on top, so we would be around 800 euros. Then you have a few other expenses, materials and stuff like that. And then it's probably around 800 to 850 euros in total. But if you are thinking about making an airport, don't be discouraged, because obviously I didn't pay that all in one go. For example, ground service equipment, I built up over time. I didn't get everything at once. I maybe purchased one box of each, and then I slowly added more to it. But as you see in my latest airport update, that would probably be 850 euros excluding planes. Then Fly Oslo Mirage asked, if it wasn't Munich City Airport, which one would it be now? Well, I mean, the Munich City Airport setup that I have will probably always be Munich City Airport. I had announced last year that I wanted to do Philadelphia Airport, and I still want to do that, but I just don't know when. Right now, the project it's not dead, but it's just very stagnant. Basically, nothing is happening. I actually have another project in my head. I won't say whatever it is because I don't want to make promises that I then can't keep, but I have something else in mind right now that I might be able to do earlier than Philadelphia. So there are other things on the horizon, possibly. I don't want to make promises, really. But yeah, Munich City Airport will be Munich City Airport. Philadelphia was and is something I want to do, and there might be something else coming, but I don't know when or if for sure right now. And then at the end, another question from Fly Oslo Mirage, and the question is, what do you think about the airline Air Baltic? Well, I mean, I had the pleasure last year, beginning of last year, 2018, to fly with Air Baltic for the first time in my life. I did a flight from Berlin to Riga and from Riga to Copenhagen, and I quite enjoyed it. I can't really say anything really negative about the airline. I mean, the concept is as many other airlines. You pay for your ticket, and if you want anything extra, you have to pay for it. I'm not a particular fan of that business model, but the flights, I can't say anything bad about them. By the way, I did trip reports on both flights. I will put them up on the screen. You probably see something flashing up in the right corner right now. So if you want to check those out, feel free. Shameless plug. Yeah, no, it's a good airline. I really like the livery. And of course the CS300 or A220-300 as it's now called. It's a nice aircraft. And they have that, so that's a plus. Now, I think we have had a lot of questions, and I hope I've been able to answer them in a satisfying way. In any case, it's been nice to just sit down and just talk to you guys, because it's not something I do very often in that way, and I thought it was a good time to do it now. I hope that you all got through well Christmas and New Year's and whatever you might have been celebrating, and wish you a good start into the new year, and hope to see you in another video very soon. Thank you for watching. I'm checking out, and bye.